Namaste everyone. Today I'm going to take you through the second edition of Be One with God. You know that we had this first edition. This was in hardbound. It had 358 pages plus the 10 pages in the beginning that it had the table of contents, preface, forward and all. So second edition has come in two variants. We have one in paperback and the other one in hardbound. Basically you can see this is a brand new cover page we got. This is done by Suprabha Roy. He is from Jharkhand. He is a great devotee of Swami Vivekananda. He is a very young man, so actually I gave him that concept, so he is able to come up with this. This is basically you can see Om is the representative of God, the symbol, and Swamiji is holding a lamp in his hand. That is to show light unto all of us. So these are the people you can see from different fields. There is a fisherman, there is an army man, there is a sadhu, there is a student, boys, girls, everyone. So it's basically like Swami Vivekananda is showing us the direction towards God. So this is the idea behind this whole drawing. And this title, Be One with God, some of you might be wondering, so how did I come at this title? So this you can see in the back of this book. I will just read it out. So Swamiji said this: "It may be that I shall find it good to get outside of my body, to cast it off like a disused garment, but I shall not cease to work. I shall inspire men everywhere until the world shall know that it is one with God." So Swami Vivekananda said that even if he gives up the body, he is going to inspire the entire human race in its march towards the perfection. I don't actually see any reason why it cannot be done. Even if you go by the most ordinary examples of, say, in India we have a Jio SIM, so that it has become like a household name in all over India. Even in the remotest villages people talk of Jio. And if you go to the computer age, everybody knows about computers these days. So this idea of being one with God, that there is divinity in every individual, it's not something undoable. It can be taken to all parts of the globe. This idea is very important for the human race. For us to have faith in ourselves, to have faith in our future, and to have solidarity with the entire creation. So this needs to be done, and Swamiji said that this has to be done, that everybody has to be taught that the divine is within and it has to be woken up. So the idea behind this book also is to drive home the idea there is divine in us already, and that all we have to do is to bring it out. Of course, the whole journey of our life is towards that. Once it's oriented towards that, it becomes much easier and we can see things in proper perspective. So coming to the final points of this book, what are the major changes we have done compared to the first edition? Firstly, the second edition was released by my Guru Swami Gautamanand Maharaj. So it was done on the 6th of August in Chennai. It was the day of Srimad Swami Ramakrishnanandaji's Jayanti. He was a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, much like Swami Vivekananda himself. So coming to the final details of this book, what has actually changed? So the core idea remains the same. There are 12 chapters in this book, and in total there are 1863 quotes. So it was coinciding with Swami Vivekananda's birth year. So that has remained the same, but I have made some changes in the content because when I did it for the first time, I had already an existing collection, so which I went through and picked from it, and some of the quotes for specific chapters I knew where I can get it, so I referred to only those parts. But after the first edition was released, I was going through the complete works of Swami Vivekananda once again. There I could relate some more quotes, so I took those quotes which I thought are important and people should know. So those quotes have been included. So in turn, I had to exchange the existing quotes, some of them. So I feel that this is more comprehensive. It also includes certain thoughts like how to meditate, because Swamiji always said meditate, meditate. But how to meditate is a question. And we talk about mind control, how to achieve mind control through simple processes. If you go to the spiritual journey itself, that's a very difficult, long, arduous path. So there are more detailed literature available for that. Vivekananda himself has spoken about it in detail in certain lectures of his. And there are more accomplished books also, like The Meditation and Spiritual Life by Most Revered Swami Yatishwaranand Maharaj. So those are for the advanced seekers. But for those who just start, who just want an idea and simple techniques to go about that process, so this book has sufficient material. And it also has a benediction by my Guru Srimad Swami Gotavanan Maharaj, and he has categorically said that he would recommend this book to every new student of Ramakrishna Vivekananda. So that's a big prize coming from him. And when I met him just before the second edition was released, he told me that this is an excellent book and he really enjoyed going through this book. I didn't expect that Maharaj would have gone through this book, considering his busy schedule and also the number of books that he will be reading and the number of activities he will be involved in. So it was a very pleasant surprise for me to hear such a lofty praise from Maharaj. But also it gave me the conviction that whatever effort has gone into this is indeed something noteworthy. So another thing is that when I did the first edition, it was more heart, more feeling sort of a thing. So like I had 12 chapters, out of which 7 chapters are specially done by me. The last 5 chapters are already existing in Swami Vivekananda literature in continuously in a prose format. So I did only the breaking up of that to make it easy for comprehension. But in the first 7 chapters, these are specially curated for the readers to keep it continuous also, even though they have been picked from different parts of Vivekananda literature. Some of it has come from his letters, some of his during his conversations, some of his during his lectures. So all this was brought together in 7 different chapters. So the first 7 chapters, that is, the last 5 chapters are the 4 yogas and the practical Vedanta. So this book has, as I said earlier, whatever is necessary for a man, from my perspective, I was thinking for a common man. So Swami Vivekananda, as I said earlier, he wanted to give hope for the meanest and the most downtrodden, and the person who has lost all the hope in his life also, and also to those who are looking for something higher. They may have an accomplished career, they may be doing well financially, they may have a good career and all that, but even with all that, they may be looking for some more new inspiration for their life. Even that can also be taken from this book. So as I said earlier, in the first edition, it was more of a heart picking quotes and trying to place them under different chapters. So when I took up second edition, it's more of a brain work, because here I already had the skeleton framework of what has to be there. So I wanted to make it more continuous reading, and also I wanted to focus on certain topics which will have that idea presented by Vivekananda's various quotes. So suppose there is a faith, perseverance, purity. So only if I take that quote, maybe similar quotes would have repeated in the next 2-3 quotes also. So that makes it more, it gives it more force, makes it more concrete. So I thought that would be very good, because it makes us to, helps us to consolidate the ideas. That was the idea behind it. And also I wanted to include some of the poetry. Last time I had only one particular poem included. Then I thought there were so many good poems that Swami Vivekananda has written, and they're all very inspiring and full of deep meaning. So sometimes I just want to look into the poetry itself without going to the prose part of it or any quotation part of it. So what I did was to include another 9 poems extra. So they have been a separate chapter by themselves. So totally we have 12 chapters as earlier, plus one additional chapter which contains the poems. And yeah, the chapter the ideal of service, that's one thing I wanted to focus a little bit more on, to make it sort of more inspiring, and also that which gives more clarity and an insight into what Swami Vivekananda wanted us to do for our country in particular. So it has been segregated into say beginning with why one has to serve, uh, and what is the philosophy behind service, and how it benefits the person who serves, and what is necessity for the world, how it's waiting for our service, and finally what has to be done. So all these things have been segregated. And know yourselves, one more chapter, it had a very great response from people, so that also we have more sort of fine tuned to have more insight into our own nature. So, and the pricing wise, this has gone to 400. I'm sorry, so 350. Of course, this is hardbound. It's we have used a 80 GSM paper. Earlier it was 70 GSM. So we increased the quality of the print also, and you can see there's a golden foil we used, and number of pages, as I said earlier, has increased by almost 60. So there's a considerable increase in the cost also. But those who are buying from us directly, we are actually giving it a much lower price, because when we sell through the bookstall, so we have to include their margin also, so that takes the cost high. And what I thought was like this hardbound edition could be a bit costly, but for those who want to preserve the book for a long time, they may go for this, even though the cost is high. But the paperback, I think it's very reasonably priced, 300 rupees only, so couldn't have been lesser than this. It has 416 pages, so, and 80 GSM paper. So this was the best I could actually do for this. So those who prefer paperbacks can go for this. Currently it's available in Amazon, Flipkart, and swamivivekananda.net also. And those who are living outside India, if there is an Amazon print on demand service, which it has in most countries like US, UK, Australia, Japan and all, so you can get it printed on demand through Amazon itself. So that's one way you can get it. And of course the Kindle edition is also there, that is kept at just 100 rupees. You can just get it, even it's included in the Kindle unlimited membership also, so those who would like to read ebooks can easily access it. And it was actually a great experience working on this book. First edition especially was really it was a great experience, brain draining sort of, because it included a lot of emotions to be put into that. And the second edition, of course, I told you it's more of a logical kind of a work. Overall I am quite satisfied, and I just wanted to say that we have some reviews by most revered Swami Atmavidananji Maharaj from the Visakhapatnam ashram, and Swami Nityastananji from Bangalore ashram, and Pravrajika Divyananda Pranamataji from Delhi, she is from Sharda Math, and Dr. Balasubramaniam, who is the founder of Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement in Mysore, now is currently the member of Capacity Building Commission, the Government of India. He has given a short review. Of course, we have a review by Vinayak Lohani, which was in the earlier edition also. And as I said earlier, we have a benediction by most revered Swami Gautamananji Maharaj. Maybe I can just take what they say, not entirely in detail, but probably just a paragraph. So Atmavidananji, he says that to be one with God has been one of mankind's eternal quests. When one gives it serious thought, it brings up questions like what is God and what would it mean to be one with God. Our Upanishads are full of such questions, and to any serious aspirant who earnestly seeks answers, this pursuit becomes a mission for life. And then Swamiji goes on to say that this current book is where we get a beautiful collection of timeless wisdom given by Swami Vivekananda. And Nityastananji says that this book, as a beacon, sheds light on all dimensions of human life and can be possessed as a great spiritual stimulant to rejuvenate our drooping spirit in steering through difficult situations of life. And Divyananda Prana Mataji, she says that a close and devoted study of this slick and useful format of Swamiji's ideas by the time-strapped youth of today will elevate the responsibilities, will elevate the sensibilities to a new level and enrich their lives. And so Dr. Balasubramaniam, he says that reading a quote a day will serve to remind us there is no greater purpose in life than being one with God. This book is an essential read for everyone who embarks on the inner journey. And as I said earlier, Gautamananji says that I would recommend this book to every new student of Ramakrishna Vivekananda. So this is about the book, and I am thankful to everyone who contributed towards this project. Of course, Suprabha Roy, who has done this beautiful cover page, and Aniketan has helped me in editing, and all the Swamijis who gave their feedbacks, and the Viveka Hamsa, who are the printers of this book. They have been extremely friendly and helpful with their inputs and their work. So without them, I don't think I would have been able to bring out this book in such a good way. So we are thankful to Munna from Viveka Hamsa and all the printers. So I hope you all like this book. If you haven't got a copy already, so you can read in ebook format also. So it's available in Amazon. So I look forward to hear from you. Maybe we can discuss some of these ideas. Thank you so much. Namaste.